honestly, not too many AD carry bans. Normally see things like Kalista, but Viego going to get taken off the card. So a lot of the big three junglers taken away. Poppy obviously still there in high prio, but Silas, Knight Silas, left open and available. Gnar is still an option, but Taliyah is something we've seen risen massively on the patch. This was already strong prior to the buff she got in 12-13. It was already seeing fantastic performances from Knight and Rookie, but it is one of the premier mids on this new patch.
And you remember that play, right?
Like, Poppy's gonna lock it in.
Everybody
I remember
that play. I hope everybody remembers. If you don't, I believe I forget exactly what week it is. I could look it up, but it's in one of the top plays of the week because this man Knight sure does know how to handle the Taliyah. So very scary that they're just so confident and willing to first pick this pickup for top esports and Knight. We'll see what the answer is for Ultra Prime, though. They are hovering over the Azir. Obviously, you can pick a decent matchup in the Taliyah or try to, and they opt into the Azir for Cryin.
Yeah, pick that can contest prio and importantly stay out of the range of Taliyah. Obviously, we've seen Azirs like to go in and shuffle. You just have to resist that urge going up against Taliyah. But now in the jungle, you know, 3 bans already kind of makes me think it'll be a high priority. 80 carry could be the other thing you look to take up here, but I think Hacker wants to get his hands on something useful before the pool potentially gets pinched some more.
Yeah, I mean, he's just got to get something in at this point. You just look at like the amount of champions he's played, at least on stage, right? And obviously everything behind the scenes and whatnot, but like he needs to get something stable and something that does have a little bit of that skirmishing power that we know Hacker likes to go for. So they do get the Zhao. Now it feels like top esports have a bit of the, you know, choice of everything they would want. They go with the Gnar, which obviously has been like perma pick and ban pretty much now in the LPL, and Poppy still open, still available for Tian, and it's locked in.
I think especially since you see there's not going to be a Silas on the enemy team, a lot more comfortable taking the Gnar. The Poppy Taliyah, really strong combo in this patch. And like you look at what Ultra Prime has so far, Azir obviously doesn't really need to use his dash aggressively, but like you have a Zhao, you have a Camille, you're into Poppy Taliyah. This is the anti-dash combo, right? If you have mobility, if you like to have fun on League of Legends, you don't want to play against this duo. So I really like the pick up from top esports. I think they're in a comfortable spot so far. And now we go to the second rotation with no bot lane picks at all for either side coming in the first 3, which is a bit of a rarity. Bear in mind, Ultra Prime have a bit of an advantage here because they will be able to pick up their AD carry first, and then they will also be able to counter pick support. Aphelios is still open and available. That's definitely one of the premier picks on the patch.
Just laughing because the ADCs are getting banned out. We got the Kog'Maw and the Draven ban against JackeyLove. We saw in some of those clips why there are some potential focuses towards JackeyLove himself. But top esports even respecting Elk with some of that aggression in the bot lane, as it will be the Kalista and the Lucian ban.
Yeah, so Aphelios is kind of a standout in this situation. Senna Tahm is, or Senna Seraphine, you could take Senna here and that still be available. Siva is something that did obviously get that reweight coming in on this patch that we could see come out. Obviously doesn't have any dashes, but I think usually would expect to see Aphelios be the priority in this situation.
I would expect so. I mean, you have seen obviously Elk on the Aphelios does still play aggressive. The Gale Force is forward, the Flash is forward. It'll be safety though for top esports. They just feel so confident with this draft right now on the blue side. They just go ahead and get that Senna Tahm Kench.
Yeah, and I think rather than take something like the Siva, I think Senna Tahm makes sense because you need the range, right, into what Ultra Prime has. If you get too close to basically anyone in the composition, you're going to have a bit of a bad time. So Siva didn't really fit in here. But this is a problem. Because Ultra Prime on red side, you know, top esports have to commit both parts of the bot lane. If they knew they were playing into Lulu, they'd love to take Seraphine, for example, Senna Seraphine, but they have to blind, they take Tahm Kench, and Ultra Prime respond with a really strong scaling bot lane with that Aphelios Lulu together. Now, I feel like top esports definitely had a massive advantage in the first 3 of the draft. I really like what they brought out there. 3 massive power picks in the patch, but I think at least Ultra Prime would give themselves a good bot lane matchup to lean on.
I still wonder though, because it definitely feels like you've got to get something rolling for Ultra Prime. And I know you were talking about the bot lane a little bit and some of the scaling aspect to it, but it looks at the top side of the map and it feels like you've got to have that proactivity. But against this top esports team who have picked such solid lanes, it feels like that's going to be really difficult. So where do you think, you know, Hacker will be looking at early on?
So I think ultimately I feel like it's tricky to have like an easy laning gank because I feel like Taliyah is not the easiest target, you know, with the Unraveled Earth. Skirmish is going to be a bit tricky against the Poppy because you can interrupt your dash. Probably top lane is solid post 6. I think you can look there. Like if you have the Hextech Ultimatum, that's one of the things that we saw before when there was Camille into Gnar, is that like if you lean heavily into putting resources into that matchup, you can really pull out ahead. You can really find big advantages, but it needs an investment. And I think that'd probably be the best place.
Well, hey, I'm very excited to get this one off. Also, just to see if anybody can stop the top as we kick off our first series of the final day in week number 7 of the LPL Summer Split. It is Top Esports versus Ultra Prime. The Rift takes place in front of us, and it is, again, a highlight on where Hacker is going to get something going for Ultra Prime. We got to look at this top lane matchup in the cinematic universe that we've developed here, the Wayward Zoom arc. And I wonder how much volatility we will get up there as we can get some fun.
Yeah, just spamming the emotes coming out. Yeah. A little bit of banner, not too much coming back in return from Zoom. And something I do want to note that we didn't really get a chance to touch on is that very recently, only a couple of weeks ago, the support that we see for Ultra Prime, miaoniu, has been brought up into the main roster. He's been on this lineup for quite some time on E-Stars Academy before that, and then on Ultra Prime's Academy. And so, other than being brought up as a temp sub, this is him being brought up onto the main roster for a bit of a chance, because clearly Ultra Prime feel like they may be able to get something a bit more out of him. Yeah. Things have been a bit of a struggle recently.
But that's so interesting to me, right? We have seen him play the Renata already this split one time, but I think that when you were looking at what Xiaoxi brought to Elk and kind of the synergy I felt like they had in lane, occasionally, I mean, sometimes it would, you know, come back as a bit of a negative, but it's really interesting to see how they will adapt to the playstyle, right? They're going for the Enchanter style, where Xiaoxi was definitely hovering a lot more of the engage and initiation for Ultra Prime.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, that's just how potentially the draft panned out. Speaking of how things panned out, Tian looking to go potentially a bit aggressive.
It's an early level 2 gank.
Oh, this could be
They aren't
big.
even level 2 yet. He's got the advantage here. They're trying to get the CC down, but they don't get it. And Elk just throws the thumbs up, and a little bit of T-sipping from miaoniu.
Yeah, so given a little bit of an opportunity there, one thing to note is that if Elk is caught by a root from the Senna, the W can follow from the Tahm Kench. There is that threat, especially without the flash. And Tian doesn't really lose that much other than a bit of time from this play, because he had the vision from Knight provided. If we look towards the Raptors on Ultra Prime's side, ward was placed to cover any chance of Hacker moving across. It also meant they knew exactly where Hacker was, so Tian can go for this play without potentially risking his topside camps being stolen away.
I want to check in on this topside matchup, though, a little bit, as we're seeing Wayward beat down Zoom a bit and get that wave pushed in there. I guess really we're not going to get much influence from these top laners until we get to the late game, and especially the side lane, but we'll get influence in mid lane, and we'll return to that top lane question as Cryin does get a little bit of presence from Tian. I guess we won't get to return to it. His Hacker looking bottom lane. They want to dive this Senna Tahm Kench early on. They're not level 3 just yet. I feel like this is a bit risky from Ultra Prime, but they want to try to do it. And JackeyLove goes down. First blood for Ultra Prime. Now TP will be committed to. Knight comes in. Abyssal dive not going to go through there. And that is actually a huge pickup for Ultra Prime.
Yeah, massive win there. Really well executed dive. And notice the Hacker didn't even initially burn the flash when he got rooted, just because he knew he didn't have the aggro. Walked out, did have the flash in the end, but Knight burning the TP. Look, mid lane, you can see Cryin. It's a very nice reset timing off the back of this. So Ultra Prime, they get that first blood, they get advantages in mid lane as well, and we can see the execution, the polymorph coming out, the fact that miaoniu is the one tanking and then leaves tower range, and Hacker does, unfortunately, I think he gets tower aggro from in, I guess, but either way, he's able to just walk it off, use the flash, and get away from that one.
Pretty clean pickup there for Ultra Prime. Where we were saying, wanted to see Hacker getting involved early. He does so. Tian was actually the first one to get involved, but he didn't come up with anything, so Hacker's just sitting there saying nanny nanny boo boo. But it will be Tian responding with a little bit of invasion of his own. We'll be picking up some of Hacker's chicky nuggies, at least himself.
Yeah.
And Hacker will be finding him out and maybe a little bit.
And bear in mind, this is something that Tian often likes to do, is to challenge for camps, look for invades, look for those angles. This was set up when Knight first moved in the enemy jungle. Put a little bit of vision down on the entrance, but also saw Hacker clearing the Raptors. Meant they had a timer on it, which means Tian can invade, steal away, and now they'll have that consistent timer as well later in the game if he wants to keep challenging and denying this camp. And it seems like such a little thing, just taking one camp, denying that away. But doing that consistently is how you build up an advantage and how you set Hacker behind.
Exactly. I think that's where we've seen the Poppy really be influential in the LPL, is a bit of pace of play with it. I do think that, with this dragon on the table here, it is a first dragon, Infernal Dragon, so it won't have the Infernal Soul, but Hacker is actually running straight to the pit, see if there's maybe any vision in there. But they're fighting over control ward in front of the dragon pit here, and Hacker gets the better of it. Tian wants to move in now, clear out their own, and they'll just trade off the 30 gold there. Knight actually getting a little bit more presence in mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Knight had prior just means you can't really comfortably go for this play. Knight manages to push in, is just going to be able to go for a reset for himself. The fact that Elk and miaoniu are moving up means they should be able to just take this dragon for themselves pretty freely. So Ultra Prime, they have that first blood. They're going to get that first dragon. Nice little advantages picked up by them in the early game so far. But it's still early days as of yet.
Ping's coming down from top esports with a bit of help. Pings saying, oh, they had the dragon. Tian going for the Krugs instead. We'll try to move in, get some bigger game. Got a little bit of shenanigans. Bot lane. miaoniu has to flash after the root there. So that's a nice little trade from top esports' bottom lane.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately landing the CC onto the Lulu, and Ultra Prime couldn't really trade back in return because they knew Tian was in the vicinity. They don't want to overcommit to any play and get punished. But now, look at the bot lane. This is a dive being set up. Knight has the wall. Tian can slam them into the side. They have to back away.
Tian walked all the way around the wall in blue buff, hoping to dodge out any wards. But because of the lack of presence on the map, they just back away anyways. Now Wayward needs to get a bit of more presence on the map here. Oh my god, they stuck around. Elk, he gets pushed back towards the rest of top esports, and Elk is in some trouble. Here comes the Weaver's Wall from Knight. Nice Emperor's Divide backs him off, though. Elk is still alive. They're all flashing forward. The seismic toss will not be enough. Seismic shove, rather. And it's top esports trying to commit, trying to get on the board, but they come up just short.
Yeah, the concept of the play, really good from top esports. The execution, very messed up, in all honesty. Look how many summoners been at the side of top esports. Everyone, apart from Mark, banning Flash. Obviously, Wayward, it was due to that gank. But yeah, messy execution. I love the concept of the play. They deny a lot away from this Aphelios, but mistakes were made. And Wayward, when we saw his Flash got burned, he jumped in to trade heavily with Zoom, which is why he had to burn his Flash out. But like, Hacker was level 4, and you can see Hacker, he landed the wind become lightning, but it's like, nah, I ain't going anywhere near this Gnar, when Zoom was like 30% HP.
Yeah, there's not much you can do there. Rift Herald is on the board now, though, for both teams. We see both junglers up towards this top side of the map. With Ultra Prime picking up that first objective in the Dragon, I would expect Tian to try to put more pressure around this Rift Herald and try to unlock a little bit of the, at least, relief that the Rift Herald would give in terms of plates, in terms of resources, to one of these laners, right? I expect Knight to get some more of these resources, even if we've seen Tian actually hovering bottom lane a little bit more. But Hacker beautifully utilizing the priority he has in his bottom lane and a little bit towards his mid lane to get that invade and get his own stolen chicky nuggies.
Yeah, answering back in return. There's obviously, as you said, Ken has that window to go for the Herald now. Oh, and JackeyLove taking a lot of damage here. And look, Hacker is coming for the dive, but Mark is now level 6. This makes it significantly more difficult to find the dive.
And JackeyLove's got to be really close to level 6 as well. He's going to heal up so much, but is it enough? There's the Devour. miaoniu is going to just die to the tower shots. JackeyLove is still alive. Hacker's going to go. It's a 2-for-1. And here comes Mark to try to finish it off. Is this going to be absolute tragedy for Ultra Prime? He's got the gray health. He can't hit the tongue lick, and it's a thumbs up from Elk. Put a little bit of damage into that catfish, but it is tied up 2-2 now.
And this is the problem with trying to dive against Tahm Kench post 6. It's a completely different game just with how powerful the ult is at denying that. And you can see the concept come out from Ultra Prime. miaoniu went for the polymorph. The polymorph meant that Mark couldn't eat JackeyLove, and their hope was to burst the Senna out before the CC ended. Obviously, that didn't work. Not even close. So we'll get the replay to see how it comes in. So JackeyLove initially getting chunked out pretty heavily here. Looks like he just overstepped, took a bit too many autos from the turret and also the Calibrum. That sets him up to be low HP, which is why this play even comes to fruition. Hacker doing a good job to respond to it, but it's just such a difficult dive to pull off. And yeah, you can see the concept in play. JackeyLove low, let's polymorph the Tahm and try and burst JackeyLove, but Mark comes out of the polymorph too soon. And look at that shield. Look how big that shield is. It's ridiculous. They recently buffed Tahm Kench. The shield, I think, is 650 at rank 1. There's no way. There's no way you're cutting through that like in short enough time to make that dive work. So Ultra Prime, the concept kind of made sense, but it was just such a small window to execute and they couldn't make it happen.
They're still looking for some proactive plays, though. They were setting up mid lane, but they don't find anything. I think this is at least a good look for Ultra Prime. miaoniu is still not level 6 yet. He doesn't have the wild growth. The Abyssal Dive connects, and he has to flash again. It's like off cooldown constantly. He has to throw up the little, please stop attacking me emote. And it will be Top Esports just emitting some more pressure through their bottom laners.
Yeah, but a good move from Top Esports, right? Banning that summoner once again, getting themselves presence around this dragon. They know Ultra Prime have the first one. They don't want to give it the second over to them. Now they are looking for Cryin here.
Emperor's Divide back into the tower, but no tower shot will come through. There's the Keeper's Verdict, and both teams walk away hands-free.
Yep, nothing really to come of it. Hacker knocked away there. Herald is still in pocket of Tian, but it looks like they might just start up the dragon. They have Prio in the bot lane at the moment. Elk's trying to contest pretty heavily, though.
Like Vigil back. JackeyLove almost goes down. Elk has flash. If he could go in, he would burn it. I know he would. miaoniu finally hit that level 6 mark. Does have wild growth as well. It's a bit of safety net for them. This top lane matchup, as we zoom into it, speaking of Zoom getting in some trouble, it's a bit of a CS gap right now in Wayward's favor.
Yeah, I mean, he's been having a great time in the matchup. Ultimately, you know, not much pressure has come out other than that one gank from Hacker. But it feels like in the 1v1 matchup, Wayward has just had the edge over the player he replaced. And now JackeyLove... I swear JackeyLove is just playing things so close to the wire.
Wait, Hacker gets the dragon, but he's dead right after wild growth will buy a little bit of time. But JackeyLove gets the snipe at the Dawning Shadow. miaoniu, you've had an interesting series of events thrown your way, and he'll go down just like his jungler. Top lane, we're getting a 1v1 between Zoom and Wayward. Zoom able to get a bit of trade back on the mini Gnar here, but he'll take some trading back himself.
And the big penalty, Ultra Prime get the second dragon, that's great, don't get me wrong. But the penalty is now, you know, your team off the map for a brief period. It means Top Esports can throw the Herald down bot lane if they so please. Looks like they're going to take some place for now and yet throw the Herald down. This might just be enough to take the entire tower. So this is one of the punishing things. Because you go for that dragon play, you give a window to Top Esports not only to take the kills, but to take a fantastic Herald off the back of it and push themselves to a pretty substantial lead. And we see the dragon actually goes down to 2 HP, I think I saw before. We'll check if I was correct in the replay. Yeah, 2 HP before it's secured. So down to the wire. But fortunately for Ultra Prime, Hacker does at least get the dragon.
That's actually crazy. Yeah, in those situations, you're just glad you came away with something. They get that early dragon stacking for themselves. The issue, as you said, though, we got to re-highlight. Now you're unlocking the Senna Tahm Kench. They are going to commit back towards this bottom lane, and this could just also be a bit of a play for Top Esports because Ultra Prime are like, okay, you've left this bottom lane. You're not going to be here, right? But then they're going to send 4 members down here to punish Ultra Prime who don't have a tower. There's the Keeper's Verdict just to get a little bit of space on Elk, and Elk Moonlight Vigils, but he's just going to die. He has nothing left, and Knight picks up the kill. Top Esports on a roll.
And I just feel like Ultra Prime, the bot lane playing very disrespectful there, expecting not to be challenged. You have no tower, you can't push up that far. And Hacker is on the other side of the map. There's no reason for you to be in that position. And now Wayward could be in a bit of trouble.
He's taking some serious damage from Hacker here. Won't be taking too much more, though, as he backs away. JackeyLove is now in mid lane. Flash actually burned from Cryin. No, miaoniu, no! 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 Not again! Not again! Ah, this feels so bad. All right, Top Esports, I see you.
Yeah, they are just moving around as a unit. The fact that they have this Taliyah, who obviously wasn't present in the last play, but obviously a mid who can roam very effectively. The Poppy can just charge at targets with the extra movement speed from the W, from the chem tank that's been picked up already. It just means if you're slightly out of position, they're going to pick you off. And Top Esports, such a fantastic team at advancing the pace of the game, you know. They're not just sitting there waiting for the next objective. They keep challenging, keep looking for windows. And Hacker now, ultimate burns.
Yeah, a little bit of a sticky predicament here. Hacker gets knocked into the wall of the tower. And he'll go down quickly to Tian. Zoom trying to play a little hypey there. He has to flash out of that seismic shove. And Top Esports continue to roll down mid lane.
I just feel like the way Top Esports play out a game when they have a lead is just absolutely fantastic, and they are the most likely team to have a lead now.
Zoom knew he was there and still went in. Feels bad, man. Timo, thumbs up. Good job, Tian. He sets him up, and Top Esports knocks him down.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to say playing Camille into Poppy, really unfun. I mean, I remember traditionally Poppy was picked in the top lane as a counter to Camille, just because you can shut down that mobility quite effectively. And you saw a very clear display of it there. Now, we see Wayward pick up that top tower. 40 CS lead. Triforce already completed with boots as well. Tian is going to pick up the Herald. The gold lead, over 6,000 already. And I mean, here's a replay. Yeah, spotted on a ward. And Zoom flashless still. I guess the game plan was, hey, we can jump on the Poppy. But Poppy has answers to that. That's the whole point of the champ.
Like, literally, the exact reason she has that ability. But hey, it is what it is. Zoom's going to try to go on to Wayward up here in the top lane. But Wayward's about to have Gnar, so he'll continue to push in. We see everybody from Top Esports, besides Wayward, forming up around this Dragon Pit to stop some of that stacking that Ultra Prime has been doing.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one, I mean it, Mazel, the one saving grace for Ultra Prime is they have 2 dragons in pocket. So that will delay it a bit. And, you know, in fairness, their composition does have some decent scaling elements. I still heavily favor Top Esports, understandably. You know, I feel like any team with a 7k gold lead is going in a pretty good spot, but they'll have to look for windows. And it's on Top Esports to continue advancing the game. Herald in pocket for Tian, but they don't even need it, honestly, for this tier 2.
They really don't. They could just press into Hacker. He has to use the Crescent Guard immediately here as well. And that's just the tier 2 tower going down to Top Esports. Bulk helps them as they keep in group. They now move to the Dragon Pit, and this will be the first Soul Dragon, at least, the Mountain Soul Dragon, going over to Top Esports. So they'll start their own stacking.
Yeah, and if they end up getting like multiple Mountain Dragons, the fact it's 6% armor magic resist each with a Poppy, that's going to be one tanky yordle by the end of this. And also something to note, you'll see that Tian obviously didn't use his ult there. They want to look for the play on a Hacker. One of the big reasons Poppy came into the meta is because if you cancel the channel, you just let it run out. It goes to a 15-second cooldown, so still has that available. And Ultra Prime are posturing. They want to try and find something here.
Cryin didn't even get
so
hit.
Hard.
Cryin didn't even get hit by the seismic shove, and he still took half his health and damage. Now the Rift Herald's coming out from Tian. They'll have more pressure on this tier 2, and they the entire time have had Wayward pushing top lane.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be real. I love when a team is behind trying to talk about, okay, how is this team gonna make this work? How are they gonna make this happen? I don't know. How are you supposed to engage on Top Esports when they have so many defensive tools?
Zoom is just caught, and here comes Tian to fall off. The CC is just perfectly layered onto Zoom, and I don't know. We brought up the conversation of the differences in top, but Wayward's going to be feeling real good after this first game, especially with the way the team has come to fight around him. And now they're onto the inhib towers in their top side of Ultra Prime's base. They'll get this one easily. I don't know if they'll get the inhib, though, as unless they land just a beautiful seismic shove. Hacker has to use his Crescent Guard and has to dash away. They won't get the inhib, but the pressure and the damage is done.
Zell, it's not even 20 minutes, and there's a 10k gold lead. And they have seven towers. They haven't even... Baron's not even on the map. And they've broken their base. Top Esports are just refusing to let this game progress slowly. And Zoom here, I mean, they should have read that they were rotating over. But once you get hit by some CC, what can you do there? It just is layered so effectively. And Top Esports, an absolute masterclass on why this team is on such a long win streak, why they are so threatening right now. And Baron's going to be up soon. It's going to be so difficult for Ultra Prime to move in and contest. And it just feels like, you know, how are you starting a fight? It's because if you're going to start a fight, it's Zoom or Hacker jumping in. But with this Poppy Taliyah duo, you just can't do it. And like, even if you somehow, maybe they're on cooldown, right? Maybe they use their tools. There's still the Tahm Kench gobble. There's still the gobble to come in, and I just think it makes it so hard. So top esports kind of need to mess up here, but they are just looking to continue the pace, and L is lucky to be alive.
Yeah, he has to use the Gale Force out. And the thing about top esports, right, they just locked in a playoff berth with their last series against Rare Atom. But the thing is we were talking at the beginning of the day, right, game differential when we're getting closer to the end of the week does matter. The wins do matter, and it's nice to see a continuation of the dominance the top esports have had, because it feels like a point of pride at this point for the team to continue to dominate their opponents and continue to try to pick up these wins over the other opponents at that top 3 in V5 and JDG. They can say, where's your win streak? Where are you at? I mean, I know V5's just ended, but come on.
And something I will say is that top esports, this is why they're such a threatening team right now, is because we saw in spring, right, Mazel, top esports being this super strong early game team. We saw it in playoffs. Even the MSI champions RNG couldn't match top esports early game, but it didn't matter because they just won mid to late. But I feel like the mid to late for top esports has improved so heavily. Yeah. No longer do they just sort of meander around waiting until hopefully the enemy team runs into them. Now they are very effective at stacking waves, setting up opportunities to take towers. And this game is a perfect highlight of that new top esports, the top esports that looks like a very strong contender for the summer title.
And can I just say, there's a sense of, I was talking about pride earlier for top esports, but there's a sense of pride for Tian too, who I feel like has had a real resurgence in his gameplay, and especially the way it seems like he's been tying the team together for top esports a lot more than some of those interesting series we were getting in spring, right? Some of the things that didn't necessarily work out for top esports. So I love to see the culmination of a lot of work in spring coming into summer and working out for them. But here as top esports just kind of feeling their way around the map, trying to figure out where they can put, it's like a game of Jenga at this point. What block is going to cause the tower to fall?
100%, and they're doing a good job of setting up the vision. They have unreal pick potential. If you're in a jungle, you can get slammed in the wall, you can get seismic shoved, all sorts of things can be painful. And they have the Umbral Glaive Senna, fantastic for helping to sweep up the vision. Now, top esports are going to pick up the dragon because why not? At this point, when you're this far ahead, you should just stack up those extra dragons, and that does give a little bit of room for Ultra Prime to move over and try and contest some of the vision around this Baron. And ultimately, this is kind of on the Lulu here on miaoniu in trying to put down wards that won't get swept. That is the ultimate challenge when you're this far behind, is throwing down wards in not the best places necessarily for optimal vision, but where they won't get swept. And you'll see top esports move over and they're all gone. So mission failed from Ultra Prime, from miaoniu to try and get some of those wards down that will not get cleared, unfortunately.
It is so dark in that jungle there for Ultra Prime. The other issue is that it just feels like there's a ticking time bomb in the side lane with Wayward. Like, there is no way that Zoom is matching anybody. Hacker can't match anybody either. He's just outright dead. No, he gets out with the wild growth. Nice timing from miaoniu, but it will be a continuation onto Elk with a big Moonlight Vigil. It's a solo dragon from Wayward. It'll be the second dragon of the game for top esports. And there's pings onto the Baron now from top.
Yeah, Hacker's low, doesn't have the ultimate, he can't approach.
They're all going bot.
Top esports will move over. Yeah, I mean, I think maybe the play was, we'll go for dragon while top esports for the top side. But top esports grab the dragon as well with this Hullbreaker Gnar from Wayward, which has been a menace in the side lanes. No. They wouldn't even get close. And now, Zoom's coming over. He's like, look, I'll try and jump on Wayward. And Wayward knows, you can't do it. You can't do anything to me.
It's a disaster. We'll see the next tackle. Yeah, Zoom is just throwing away his life at this point, trying to maybe be a distraction. We'll see a little bit of that fun. And the replacement has definitely gotten the upper hand in the first game of this series, and he's looking real good. Top esports came in and dominated Ultra Prime. It'll be slow but sure, and Ultra Prime just retreating into their base right now. The thing for top esports, though, they need to push in these waves a little bit more if they want to do some of this inhib damage, but they don't. They're just going for fights. They don't care. I mean, now they do, but they were just going for fights.
They're looking for the kills, right? And obviously they will have to have Night Reset, but he TPs in on the minion. The sustain from the Senna means they aren't even too pressed by this situation. Elk is getting a decent amount of damage off when he's able to, but he is rarely able to stand there and actually DPS. And look, where's Hacker?
Yep, he is actually surviving again. I mean, this is multiple times, but here comes Wayward to finish off the job. He might be in some trouble now himself, though. Big Emperor's divide from Cryin, but he sets himself apart from the rest of his team, and Wayward survives through all of that with the help of JackeyLove, who now is feeling online on the Senna. The quick backs rather, will come through, or try to. At least they did get one off. Now Zoom is following, but Zoom straight to his death again, and that's TP. It's a roundabout here, and Top Esports are just going around in circles and punching Ultra Prime in the face. This will be continuation of their dominant streak here. Top Esports will win game number 1 of our first best of 3 in the night.
Yeah, I mean, with that much of a lead, even when it feels like Top Esports may have possibly overstepped, they managed to bring it back. Wayward doesn't connect the ult at the end. Still popping what seems to be his new favorite emote with the little pig. And Top Esports with a very, very commanding victory. And a pretty intimidating one. If you're Ultra Prime and you've just been manhandled like that, it's hard to bounce back from.
It absolutely is. Even with some of those early, at least machinations we saw them working on, I think is the most interesting part to me. And it's going to feel real rough when there was just so much control that Top Esports had. And you could see kind of the upbeat attitude in the camera there for Top Esports at the end. And I just feel like it was everything you could ask for Top Esports, right? There was domination in every sense of the word. Some of those early fallings didn't really matter too much because, again, it all stemmed back to the confidence I felt just coming out of them in the draft, right? Because they just were insta-locking. They had a very stable composition at the top side of the map. They went to the Senna Tahm Kench because they were like, we're fine leaving this bot lane where it is. And they actually found advantages down there.
I didn't like the draft from Ultra Prime. I mean, the first 3, I think they fumbled so hard, it was almost irredeemable. I don't think the Lulu Aphelios was awful. I think it was fine, into the Senna Tahm. It makes sense. But that first 3, like, your only engage is Camille and Zhao into Poppy Taliyah. It's just never conceptually going to work. Poppy is the current highest priority jungler on the new patch, right? And obviously, we've only had a little bit of time on 12-13, but Poppy is the highest priority jungler. Gnar is the highest priority top. Taliyah is the highest priority mid. I would safely say I think these 3 are probably the best in each of their roles in the current patch. How are you letting Top Esports get all 3? And the thing is, like, I can understand it if it's like, okay, they got the best top jungle mid, but we took the best bot laners. But no, you also took top jungle mid. You also took the same roles in those first 3, but Top Esports just got the best champions, and you got, rough ones. Like, Azir's fine, but Xin Zhao definitely low on the totem pole. Camille is more of an answer to Gnar than a great pick, and we didn't see it answered. Wayward, against the player he replaced, showing why. Dominating Zoom in that matchup, and Tian and Knight just had a fantastic game.
I mean, it wasn't even close in that top matchup either. I mean, the CS differential, the pressure differential, it was literally unanswerable in the side. And if they did, right, it was a tough task for Ultra Prime to do so. I want to say that obviously adaptation in the draft will help Ultra Prime. I think finding things that will feel confident, but as well as keeping that meta that you were talking about in mind a bit more, and not letting a team like Top Esports, who we've said is already at the top of the table, is already so ridiculously strong, get these incredibly meta picks and be able to pilot them so simply, it feels like.
Yeah, I feel like you have to deny something. Like, if you even think about how the draft went, they saw Taliyah and they immediately answered with the Azir themselves. And then they picked the Zins out. They could have taken Poppy. They could have taken Gnar. They could have taken those 2 immediately and then responded with mid on 3. They had that chance and they didn't take it. So I think Ultra Prime, if they come into game 2 with a much better draft, maybe they have more of a chance in this one.
Let's see if at least the second roadblock will be able to stop the train that Top Esports is on, because the first one got blown through like it was just plywood. We'll be right back after a short little break.